entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who's the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevakishwa.
Hii sio wakati tulikuwa tunapishwa tukapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
There's faith in my world. It comes back to your teachings and all your words.
Swala ni jambo ambalo limesisitiziwa kwa sababu Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam aliwahi kusema kuwa amefaidika yule ambaye atatekeleza swala yake hali ya kuwa ana khushu'.
Aswa usarkata alladhi yasriku fi salati. Yule muizi ambaye kwamba ni mbaya kushinda wote ni yule ambaye kwamba anaiba katika swala yake. Mtume alipoyasema yale, maswahaba wakashangaa wakamuuliza, wa kaifa yasriku fi salati? Vipi mtu anaweza kuiba katika swala yake? Akasema, alladhi la yutimu ruku'aha wala sujuda.
Akolo beshimali wala kwa mkono wa kushoto.
Yes, I swear, by Allah, I swear. I never heard the music so sweet. I repeat.
Well, go on, me brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth reggae vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
Alafu kila Tuesday, kata simu tupo side, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She says she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday with me, DJ_Liza Diva,
DJ Colder,
and me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
Unanifanya nisikie kunyongwa. Hadija ai, money especially ukisonga.
Na shukran sana mtazamaji kwa kuendelea kuwa nasi hapa kwenye Kurunzi Mashinani. Karibu kwenye awamu ya pili. Idara ya urekebishaji tabia inanakili idadi ya wafungwa wanaotumikia hukumu zisizozidi miaka 5 ili kuangazia upya hukumu hizo kwa lengo la kupunguza msongamano magerezani na pia kuwashirikisha kwenye mpango wa kuhudumia jamii. Idara hiyo imeimarisha mafunzo na kozi kwa wafungwa. Kwa mujibu wa katibu katika idara ya urekebishaji tabia Salome Biako, idara ya magereza inashirikiana na idara ya mahakama ili maafisa wa mahakama wawe wakitembelea magereza mara kwa mara kuchunguza upya hukumu za wafungwa zinazoweza kugeuzwa kuwa huduma kwa jamii. Alisema hayo alipozuru gereza ya Kericho kabla ya kuelekea kwenye magereza ya Sotik na Bomet.
Ways we are trying to solve that problem of congestion in those prison cells is through decongestion, and that is why we are working very closely with the Chief Justice so that the probation officers do these reports and so that more of the judicial officers can come, and I'm encouraging them to make it a routine. They routinely come and visit these prisons and embark on that decongestion process. Those inmates who are petty offenders, you know, like being drunk and disorderly, which is a very big problem here in this region, they need not be here. they can serve in the community. They can go and clean up the markets. They can go and paint the county commissioner's office. They can come and sweep the streets. That way, we decongest them, but also they also feel that they have reformed.
Na mtazamaji, taarifa hiyo kuhusiana na kupunguza msongamano katika magereza inatufikisha kwenye tamati ya Kurunzi Mashinani. Lakini kabla ya kuondoka, nitakuacha na mahojiano yaliyofanywa na mwanahabari mwenza John Jacob Kioria ambaye alikuwa amekuwa na kikao naye katibu wa Leba Shadrack Mwadime. Ni mahojiano ambayo utakuwa unayapata baada ya muda usiokuwa mrefu. Jina langu ni Nancy Okware, mtangazaji wa lugha ya ishara ni Anne Wangeshi. Kwa heri.
Tonight we're speaking to Shadrack Mwadime, the Principal Secretary in charge of Labor and Skills Development. Thank you very much, PS, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Let's begin with you explaining to us what is the mandate of the State Department for Labor and Skills Development.
Right. The mandate is pretty wide because, as you well know, this is a ministry that has been in existence even before independence. So we deal with all matters labor within the country in terms of ensuring that Kenyan workers work in a safe environment, and therefore we have the Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health, and also to ensure that they are paid what is due to them in terms of the skills that they have, so that, you know, we don't have disguised unemployment in the sense that people have skills that are not utilized to the maximum in the enterprises where they work, and they are not paid also commensurate to the skills that they have. So we have the Labor Commissioner and her team that is in charge of that. We also do labor market research to see where there are gaps, because many a times employers tell us that the kind of graduates we produce do not match their expectations, and therefore the need to continuously do an analysis, you know, in terms of the expectations of the market and the kind of graduates that we produce. Then we also have skills development, which was a fully fledged state department during the Uhuru administration, but it is a directorate as it is currently in my ministry. Then we have the newest directorate, which is labor migration, owing to the fact that we're looking for opportunities abroad. So it's a very, very wide, you know, mandate that we have as a State Department, taking in consideration all matters concerning Kenyan workers, laborers in Kenya.
We've had teachers and aviation workers threatening to strike. Question is, what is the role of the State Department in terms of dealing with these strikes?
We have done the best that we can. You must appreciate that the economic situation that we are facing currently is very wanting, both for the employers and the employees. You know, we do understand that employees are suffering. Yeah, the situation is not such that they can be comfortable in terms of meeting their needs. But you must remember also, enterprises, you know, have to maximize on profit. Enterprises are established to maximize on profit, and they too have been complaining. Yeah, and you've seen the agitation that has been there over time. So the fiscal space as it is currently is what is causing all this trouble that you see all over. The unions coming up and saying, hey, look, there is need for, you know, their members, their environment that they work in, and also the pay that they receive to become a little bit better. Now, as government, we have tried the best that we can. You saw that the CS, the newly appointed Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Alfred Mutua, had a meeting with the Kenya National Union of Teachers, for example, had a meeting with KUPPET, even had a meeting with the Secretary General Kotu to sit with them and try to convince them that this may not be the right time, really, for Kenyan workers to go on strike. The situation is very wanting for all of us. And you've seen also the agitation by the Gen Zs saying, you know, unemployment is extremely high. They don't want taxes to be increased. And therefore, the role of the ministry is to be a conciliator. bring together these two warring parties. Make this party understand the situation the way it is for the employees, and here we are talking of the employers, but also make the employees also understand that the situation as it is currently is very wanting. Yeah.
Kenya prides itself that one of its biggest resources is human resource capital. Question is, how well trained is that human resource capital?
The brand that we have of Kenyan labor is superb. I can say that with a lot of confidence. We have young people who are, very well trained. Those who graduate from universities, for example, but also those who graduate from TVETs. Kenyans are on high demand in the international labor market. There is no question about it. But is there a need for us to reskill, to upskill? Yes, it's an absolute yes. Why? Because the environment keeps on changing. Yeah? And therefore, as I said earlier on, we continuously conduct market research to see where there are gaps. And indeed, I must confess, many a times our employers in Kenya raise issues concerning the graduates that we are producing, and we address the same with Ministry of Education, because when we conduct research, the recommendations that we come up with inform curriculum. So if there is need for curriculum to be changed to reflect what the employers expect, we do that. We work very closely with Ministry of Education. But the Kenyan brand is highly demanded. I can say that with confidence because we have signed bilateral labor agreements with some foreign countries. The biggest example I can give is UK on medical practitioners, on nurses, Kenyan nurses are highly trained and they're on high demand all over. In Europe, Australia, in UK, in Ireland, and the rest of the Western European countries, they regard our nurses very highly. But we have gone a step further as it is. The bilateral labor agreement that we're going to sign with Germany in the next 2 weeks or so, on the 13th of September, actually 3 weeks, will also take into consideration the need for doctors to go and work in Germany. Yeah? They have already done their market analysis of the kind of brand that we have. They came over and did that analysis even before we began negotiations, on the bilateral labor agreement, and realized that we have the experts who can be able to fill in the vacancies that are opening up in Germany. Not only that, IT. Our young people are IT savvy, extremely IT savvy.
You've spoken about the opportunities available for nurses, particularly in the UK, and what you're signing in Germany. And the question is, what is the standardization of certification or qualifications, so much so that if a nurse lives here as a degree holder, the same qualifications will be recognized where she's going?
We do that in consultation with Ministry of Education, but part of the bilateral labor agreements that we are signing also take into consideration that fact, that our graduates should not go for further training where they have secured employment, that the kind of training they get here in Kenya should be sufficient. Now, let me give you an example of our TVETs in comparison to those that obtain in Germany. Again, if I can make use of Germany as an example. Germany is very good when it comes to practical studies. If one is undertaking a 3-year course, you can rest assured 1.5 will be theory, 1.5 will be practical, courses that they undertake while they are working in industries, you see. So it's a dual, system of some sort. We want to do the same in Kenya so that we don't just produce graduates who come out with theory, who are well versed on theoretical, factors, theoretical education, but they also have the practical skills so that they are ready for the market.
The president's promise for labor migration and indeed creating jobs, particularly for the youth outside the country, how are we faring in terms of that promise?
We are faring very well, extremely well. If you are to access the National Employment Authority website, even now, you'll discover there are more than 460,000 jobs that have been uploaded on the system, because we are working very closely with the private recruitment agencies. And they have taken our call very seriously. And they have gone out there. They have sourced for these jobs. They have uploaded these jobs on the website. And mind you, for some of these jobs, we have to get our ambassadors out there to confirm the same. So attestation is critical. The PRAs have to get, the approval of our ambassadors that those jobs truly do exist before they are uploaded on the system. So I think this administration has done extremely well when it comes to that. We have given a directive to our ambassadors to concentrate also on looking for employment opportunities. The same way we're also looking for, the market for some of our products, So they've taken it up as one of their major activities while they are abroad to secure employment for young people. Yeah.
Critics that argue, PS, that jobs should be created locally, and particularly the Gen Z, you've seen them say, we don't want to work outside the country, we want to work in the country.
The unemployment rate in Kenya is extremely high. Out of 1 million graduates that we produce every year, and I'm talking of, graduates from primary, graduates from secondary school, graduates from universities, graduates from colleges, our economy is only able to absorb 200,000. And I'm talking of both the public and the private sector. So where will 800,000 end up? On the streets, tarmacking, being idle, and these are active young people. Now, the reality is there are models that we are emulating. There are countries that were at the same level where we are currently about 20, 30 years ago, who experienced the same challenge that we are experiencing currently. South Korea, for example. They sent their young people to Japan, to work in Japan, to work in Saudi Arabia. They came back with technology as it was then, came back with it to the country, and they were able to produce goods of the same quality as where they had migrated to work in.
How are you dealing with errant bureaus?
We don't want young Kenyans to be duped in whichever way. And we have gone out and, spoken very clearly and loudly, actually from the rooftop, that any Kenyan who wants to access a job in the international labor market must go to the naye website, National Employment Authority, www.naeims.go.ke. That is the National Employment Authority Integrated Management System.
Some of these countries offering these job opportunities, even when confirmed by our envoys or ambassadors, have a record of human rights violations. So much so that if a Kenyan hears there are opportunities in those countries, they would say, no, I'm keeping off because that country has a record of human rights violations. How are you engaging those countries to deal with the record of human rights violations?
Now, what we are doing currently is we are renegotiating new BLAs, new bilateral labor agreements with some of these countries that are human rights based. So any Kenyan migrating to this country, their interests must be safeguarded through the bilateral labor agreement. The issues of passports being confiscated, the issues of working 7 days a week, for nearly a whole day will be addressed by these BLAs. But we have gone further and deployed labor attaches, Kenyan government workers whose mandate is to ensure that our Kenyan workers abroad, their interests are taken care of. So that Kenyan workers abroad can reach out to these government officers easily in case they find themselves in distressing situations. So we have labor attaches.
You've spoken about the toll-free number. That toll-free number, how does it work, particularly in countries where we do not have embassies?
If we are to get to know that there is a Kenyan in a country where we do not have an embassy, we'll be able to reach out to this foreign government, and ask them to intervene on our behalf. And those arrangements are there internationally. Yeah. The toll-free number, if I can read it out, is 080 02 2223. Let me read it out again. 080 02 22 223. This is a number that is manned 24/7. We have officers who man this number, continuously day in, day out, and it is a toll-free number.
Pierce, as we wind up, there's a general reliance on yourself and indeed the government to create jobs in the country. What is your promise to Kenyans tonight?
My promise to Kenya is we are doing our very best to ensure that the economy expands within. The economy will expand gradually in terms of the strategies that we have put in place, because these are very, very aggressive strategies. So yes, there are going to be job opportunities going forward. Let me give you an appropriate example. The SME sector, the Juakali, the informal sector, the loans that we are giving out, through the Hustler Fund, the Youth Enterprise Fund, we are trying to encourage these enterprises, small enterprises, to grow and become big enterprises, to be able to employ even more Kenyans. So we are doing our level best. But in the meantime, as we send Kenyans abroad, as they remit that which they are able to get abroad, and they come and invest in our country, gradually with time, maybe in the next 3, 4, 5 years, or at the maximum, we will see an exponential expansion of our economy. Kenyans will be graduating then, will be absorbed within our economy.
Of course, we've been speaking to the Principal Secretary of the State Department for Labor and Skills Development, that is Shadrach Mongolo Mwadime, who's really highlighted what the ministry is doing to deal, one, with strikes that are impending, and of course, indeed, the bigger responsibility being to create jobs, be it in the country or outside. This is where we put a cap. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good night.